Welcome everybody to Fiore Calls Game. I am your host Andrew Fiore. Today, day before Thanksgiving, big football time for us around here. But while everybody's talking about Westerly and Stonington, we don't want to forget that we have some champions up the road in Kingston. And the URI football team, which just won back-to-back CAA conference championships, is spearheaded by none other than AJ Pena, our guest this afternoon, who we're going to welcome in alongside Kyle Real, our guest. AJ, how we doing?
I'm doing well. How you doing?
Doing great. Want to apologize to our viewers for some technical difficulties we had. We're adjusting to a new time, and there's multiple shows going on in the studio now. It's awesome that we're able to have two shows on at once, but sometimes the Wi-Fi gets a little weird. But we're good. We're ready to roll now. It's great to have Kyle back with us for the first time in a few weeks. But what an exciting time for you, AJ. I mean, you just won your second CAA ring. You've got the playoffs coming up. What's on your mind right now on this midpoint in the week?
So right now, to be honest, I'm thinking about Central Connecticut State, but it's hard not to think about the national championship. Um, right, we got 5 games until then, obviously, and we got to take, game by game, obviously, but we got the CAA title, so now we're looking to the big one, obviously, right? So it's very exciting. So yeah.
Now, Central Connecticut State is the same opponent you guys had last year in the FCS playoffs, and you handled them pretty well. Does it get hard for you to avoid being complacent when facing an opponent you guys have already beaten, one that's not supposed to be that tough for you guys to face? Are you having a hard time? Do you consider this a trap game?
Oh no, I mean obviously, right? We played them last year, and yeah, we won. But this team is they want us. They want blood, and it was very evident in the watch parties that I was watching. I was watching some of the guys and how they were analyzing. They were shaking their heads, head bobbing like they wanted to play Rhode Island. So okay, I hope you're ready for it. You know what I mean? Obviously, but these guys they played with each other 2 or 3 years, right? So these guys are older and they play with each other for a long time, so they want to win, obviously, right? They don't want to go home and lose, obviously, right? And for us seniors, right, like there's nothing guaranteed next week, right, unless you win, right? So gotta take it day by day, like I said, and now we're definitely not undermining this opponent. We are taking this opponent very seriously, and we are excited.
You got yet another accolade. I believe yesterday, the day before, you were named the CAA Defensive Player of the Year. Not a surprise to anyone around Kingston who knows the effort you put in and how important you are on defense. But how is it for you getting your name out there on the national landscape?
It's important, right? Obviously, right? I work hard and I do all that stuff, but I don't do it for that, right? I do it for my family and the teammates around me. My teammates are the number one priority in my mind every single time, whether I'm in a good space in life or bad. All right, I'm always constantly thinking about them, right? Um, like I said, I made a Twitter post yesterday talking about my inside backers and my defensive backs. I'm not who I am as a player without them. If they're not calling the fronts, if they're not covering on the back end and doing their due diligence to do their 111th, and the 111th is doing your job. That's what we call it in football. And my job is to emphasize that. And when they feed into that, it only makes me want to play that much harder, right? So, very, very, very happy about that award, But like I said, I don't look at that. I feel like it automatically comes just based off the work I put in, and it shows on the field and my preparation. And that's nothing bad to ask for when you have a standard of yourself like that.
I just want to jump in real quick. So AJ, I see you, out on the practice field and obviously at games every single day, and you're just an intense dude. You bring the intensity every single day. How do you maintain bringing that kind of energy, not only during practice, not only during games, but during practice every day when you might see guys, being a little bit lower on energy? And how do you think your teammates, especially the younger guys, kind of feed off of that energy, seeing, the guy on defense basically act like that every single
I
day?
mean, right? I'm gonna look for my aspect, and I'll get into them. Right, like I said, I consider myself a very intense guy. I'm also very angry. You know what I mean, and that's why I do what I do, play football, right? And I have to learn how to balance these emotions to make sure I'm not too high or too low with my emotions. And that's very easier said than done, right? Because right, I feel like the younger guys now from when I got into college is a little bit different, right? It's like a little bit more softness, how I say it, right? You have to be a little bit more nurturing in terms of how you are expressing something if a kid is doing bad or not understanding, right? Because if I just mother F with somebody, right, the whole time, like that kid may not get it that way, right?
Yeah.
But I know certain close guys that I know can handle that. You know what I mean? So part of that's part of leadership is analyzing your battles, right? But the coaches do a good job of making sure because, like I said, we're in Rhode Island. It's cold. We practice in the morning, but you have to put yourself in a mentality to literally override that adversity. And that's human nature. It's what our defensive coordinator talks about a lot. It's human nature comes out in every scenario, positive or negative, right? It's cold outside. Oh my God, I gotta be tucked up. But it's just mindset. You know what I'm saying? You can be okay and go in that cold storm, right? It's just mindset, like I said. So
Sometimes the cold being a mindset is a little tougher for Kyle and I when we were up on those construction lifts. For the players on the field, that is
Please don't get me
advice.
started. Wait, actually, I gotta jump in with a question here then, AJ. When I'm up
Yeah.
there and I'm spending, 5 to 10 minutes filming you guys do indie, do any of you guys go back and watch that at any point?
oh, absolutely. I hear your music. I hear the music and the paper
Oh,
when you do
really?
it sometimes. I hear everything, dude. I hear everything. And it's because I have the earbud in. Maybe it's because it picks up on it, but other people say they don't pick up on it. I hear everything. I hear
From the
everything.
lift,
What'd you say? Sorry.
you could hear everything like in the lift.
No. I'm saying I can not like I can hear the sound of the wind. Hear him talking. I hear Laurenti from the field speaking from the camera. So it's like that's what I'm trying to
Oh,
say.
I was gonna say I've
Yeah.
had some conversations up there when I
Oh
was
yeah.
doing that. I'm like, ooh,
But like I
Yeah.
asked, I asked Ed and Kasim if they
yeah.
watched any of the indie tape that I would film, when they're just doing their indie drills or whatever, and they were both like, "Nah, we never watched that."
No, I do, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I really do because honestly I watch the rest of my teammates because I just want to see how my teammates are giving up. Are they giving up the same amount of energy as me, right? And that's very important because I can tell in Indy if somebody is how I say it, bullshitting or not, right? So the eye in the sky don't lie, and the tape will always show, So
That's
yeah,
actually really good insight on it. No, no, now I have a great answer. The other ones were just like, "Nah, we don't watch that."
nah, bro. I look at Indy, bro.
That's good to know that we weren't wasting our time up there filming that. But AJ, early on in this episode, you're already proving something I've thought about you, that you're one of the more introspective players I've met. You're monitoring your own, not only your own play, but your own mentality, your own emotions. Where do you think that stems from?
hmm. To be honest, it's been years of me not reflecting and just reacting, right? As I'm older, I'm starting to realize like I have to do things to help that, right? I can't just be naive and a young kid and just think off emotions all the time because we're grown, right? That's for little boys. You know what I mean? And it's tough. Like I said, I'm still working on it, but I think it stems from me like from my upbringing because right I got pulled out of different classes for speech, IEPs, all that different good stuff, you know what I mean? And like I was a little embarrassed and I used to like be angry for a long time, but I'm doing things now to help that, and I'm still growing with it. I'm still work in progress with it, like I said. So yeah.
Beyond just what they've done for you on the field, who are some of the coaches on the staff that you feel have really helped you as in terms of like being a mentor and someone you look up to beyond just the teachings in terms of football and schematics?
You said who I look up to?
Or just like some of the
Or
coaches
like a
you
role model, like a role model.
yeah.
I would say probably Coach Lazard. because of he's from New Jersey and it's high intensity, right? He understands how, and I'm not stereotyping, but how us New Jerseyans react and feel. You know, I mean, he's been through a lot of similar things in life that I've been through, and he's very close. He loves his relationship with God, and I have a lot of anger, like I talk about. So he tries to align that anger with. He's not forcing it on me, you know what I mean? But he's making me see what I need to see because I have a lot of. I try to get a lot of answers for a lot of things that go up here. You know what I mean? We don't have it. We only know what we know by what we've been taught historically or whatever we know. So yeah, probably close to.
Yeah, no, that's a good answer. That closeness to God is something that's important to me too, and something I noticed from what football does is they do those devotionals before games.
Hmm.
What type of impact do those have on you?
To be honest, I don't go into those, and I do it
Yeah,
for a reason because I get really emotional in those things. I love my grandmother a lot, and my connection with God is through her. And I know that sounds pretty, but it's pretty crazy. But she taught me a lot through there, right? Um, I get emotional talking about it right now when we even bringing her up. But she made me have faith. You know what I mean? And I can feel her in my spirit and soul, even though she's passed away, unfortunately,
yeah,
right? And I know it's real because I'm every time I'm angry and I'm thinking about her and that happens, that emotion, I'm purified after I'm happy, right? So I know it's something in that mind frame that's working, and that's what carries me. That's what makes me keep going with it. You know what I mean? So yeah.
that's fascinating. Pure anger purifying into happiness. You're a profound thinker, and I've noticed that from you in Keith's class too. You were in our sports marketing class, and I had Keith on the show one time. In that class, you really expressed yourself. What did that class really mean to you?
That class right there, I was very skeptical at first, right? Because right, I only can express like when I talk about things, I only can talk about things I truly care about, right? And that's the best way. Like, you know what I mean? And when I went up there and I said my whole story and everything like that was very cleansing. You know what I mean? Because I never shared that in a public setting like that, and I
Yeah.
know I have to prep for things like that, obviously, right? But it was very challenging because, right, like who wants to go up there and talk about what they've been through because people may judge you for who you are. You know what I mean? And it's hard to think about. You know what I mean? Nobody wants
Yeah.
to be judged, but like you're doing it for yourself. You know what I mean? You're vocalizing yourself to other people for your own personal. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
if it's for yourself, you know what I mean. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks, right? And I'm saying that now, but in that mindset when I was in the class with you, bro, it was very difficult. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
it was difficult. So it's definitely helped me mold me for my confidence to be more in terms of speaking out in front of people or small groups or yeah. Because if I could talk about my life story, it's not the best. Like I said, I can talk about anything. You know what I mean? So, like I said,
Yeah, and a lot of what you're talking about, these are things that take people decades to really understand about themselves, even just
hmm
beyond athletics, right? Um, and for you to be exploring these aspects of yourself and really being your full self out there as a role model, you're the face of the team. Um, do you consider that to have an impact on both the athletes around you as well as the fans, even some kids that might look up to you, and the URI community in general?
oh, absolutely, right. Everything I do, right, I try to impact something or someone, right. Like I said, I do things. This stuff I don't speak about, but I do things on the regular outside on campus, like if there's Wiley, like one time in Wiley, I live in Wiley Hall, right? There's
Mhm.
20 bags outside, right? And it's about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday, right? I picked every single one of those bags up and put them in the trash. You know what I mean? And it's not about the whole thing of that. Like, it's like I know what it's like to come from nothing. You know what I mean? And to have somebody pick that up when you can just put it in the trash can. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I I'm saying that as an example because it's a deeper thing. Younger people have to realize that everything's not about you, right? And everything we did in life would be about you. Then like we wouldn't get any like thing out of anything, right? Like y- people love when people say things in positivity, right? That's the natural
Right.
thing, right? But what about somebody who's going to tell you the truth? How can you handle that when somebody's going to be real with you? And you could take that one or two ways. You take it, or it goes the other way. It goes in the or out the other, right? And I used to be like that, like I said when I was younger, but I've become a sponge to information because I am trying to be the best version of myself. You know what I mean? And it's mental, it's physical, but mental is the biggest. Let me tell you. You know what I mean? It's so important, and it should never ever be undermined whatsoever. So
And hearing what you're saying right now, and this prioritization of the people around you, this is what people like Coach Fleming want to hear from their captain. And this, I'm sure, is a large factor in why you got so many offers last offseason when you were in the portal. And I'm going to ask you a question that I know you've probably been asked a trillion times in
it's
the
all
past
good,
year.
brother. Hit me.
Yeah, I've got to do it. Your decision to leave Memphis and come
Mhm.
back home. What was that process like for you? When did you realize you wanted to come back to Rhode Island? And what were the factors leading into that?
So there was a lot of factors, right? Let's start with this January, right? When I was about to enroll, 2 days before I even got in there, my defensive line coach left and went to New Mexico State. Um, my confidence to even do all that and to get into it, right, was for to see if I was going to get a better spot for me, right? And I wanted something on the bigger stage, right, that would spotlight me in the defense that exactly like Rhode, just exactly
Yeah,
how I'm used at Rhode at a higher level. That's what I was looking for, right? I wasn't looking for the most spotlight. I was looking for a spot for me. You know what I mean? Because I had
right.
BC, Nebraska, Illinois. You know what I mean? So it was a lot of there was a lot of different things. So, like I said, we'll start with the coach, then we'll get into the whole thing about the scheme. Right? The scheme wasn't just it just didn't make sense for what my skill sets like. You know what I mean? Like my skill sets are I'm rushing and I'm just not like a big gap stuffer. You know what I mean? And that's what they kind of wanted me to do. Right. And me going there, right, I was supposed to be more versatile. Me bringing me into that, and it just wasn't happening as fast as I wanted. Right. And I had 1 year, right? So I'm gonna trust them, the guys that I just came in. You know what I mean? My defensive line coach left, right? And then there's a whole nother guy. And then it was just weird business going on that I just wasn't liking whatsoever.
Yeah,
And like just being there too, like there was just a lot of weird underlying things that were going on. Like there's a whole thing about money up there. There's just so much different politics that you guys see, but there's just so much more because there's egos with coaches, there's
yeah,
egos. You know what I mean? When there's money involved, that's you know what I mean. It's just unfortunate. We're talking about triple figures. We're talking about all these different things that are in it. It's a lot of money, and it's for winning, right? They just want to win, but they don't want to do what it takes to win, right? They don't want to delve into the interpersonal connections to be like, all right, what does this kid need so he can perform at the best level? They think it's just going to happen, which is understandable, right? But like, it's just not. You got to put the player in the best mindset and the best scheme for him. You know, you have to care about him. You know, and I didn't feel that there. You know what I mean? Like it's almost like they were trying to like play me or some shit like that. And I knew, and I would laugh in my day to days of being in there. You know what I mean? And I was still doing my thing there. Like I got one-on-ones against these guys there, good film, doing all this stuff, and it's just like it still doesn't feel right. You know what I mean? And like I said, I made my decision honestly was pretty easy. Um, because of really the scheme aspect. I'm really the scheme because right, I'm a 3-4 outside backer, right? A 3-3-5 is more for bigger guys. It's more for their inside linebackers, and that's the quickest summary I can really give for you, right? So the scheme, I would say the atmosphere just wasn't what I really wanted, and I kind of made a decision a little too fast. I feel, and I felt pressure was a little bit on my side. You know what I mean? And I feel like also I didn't have the best agent as well, right? And that's a big thing too. People who are in your ear, right? Because right, like I said, I hit the portal, right? But I was still a little weary about it to even begin with, right? Because like I am a loyal person, and I know I left and did all that, bro. But it's like it's a lot of money involved. You know what I mean? And a couple zeros there. You know what I mean? Like I could get into whole details about that, but you guys know. You know what I'm saying? Money is a big thing, right? You know what I mean? And
Oh yeah.
um especially right, I'm an only child, right? So everything I've done in my life has been so isoed, and I've had goals in mind for my freshman year to like do 2 years and leave. Like that was in my head, right? And that's everybody's like every athlete's goal is to go up and do that, right? But is it in the best interest for you, or is it in the best interest of the other program? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So learning all this, right, I had to really learn the business, right? And once I really learned it in that time in Memphis, that's really when I was like, I need to come home. I need to go back with the people that's rightfully been by my side this whole time. And like I said, it's not like I didn't want it to work out, right? But it like God works in mysterious ways, like I said, you know what I mean? And it led me back here. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the NIL has really impacted college sports in a big way, and you're pointing out the effects are even in those mid-major conferences. It's almost like the CAA's got some more purity left in it, where the money's not as much of a driving force as it is in those bigger schools. And it sounds like you had to navigate between putting your own best interests first in deciding where you were going to go, but also that selfless side of you where you're putting people first. You've got to do some things for yourself, and picking the scheme that works best for you sounds like you needed to work on that, like work on giving yourself what you
Basic,
need.
basically, right? Me leaving realized University of Rhode Island is the place I wanted to be. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And like I said, coaches hit you up. Coaches do all this. Like they'll send people to you to like let you know that they're interested. A lot of stuff that like is underlying. And this is college football. This is no secret. This is no like I'm not putting game on. This is just the reality that we're in the new age of college football. And that's just what it is. You know what I mean? So yeah.
So to win the championship twice now at that school that you chose must have felt unreal.
Oh, I mean, it didn't set in until probably Monday, to be honest, because like the reason why like people ask me like what championship means more to you, the last year or this year, right? And I'm like, I love them both, but last year's was every game was to the wire, right? So imagine that on an emotional scale as a player and a fan. You can only imagine like you know what I mean? But think about on the field like Hampton, you Albany. Like we were down those games. Let's keep on. Weren't we down Maine? I believe Were we? I don't know if we were. I'm sorry. Monmouth, couple, like, you know what I mean? And somehow those last series, 2 or 3 series, we came out on top. Like, the emotions, and then to win out of that, that's why I would say the most meaningful one would be last year's. But this one, though, like, talk about dominant fashion, knowing, like, there was a known thing that we were going to do that in our hearts and what we believed in. Hopefully, you guys did. I know it was probably weird in the beginning, right, because of the whole Brown loss and everything. But what we did from that Brown game was we had a players meeting, leaders meeting, and we talked about everything that we wanted to do, right? And we said we won't be able to do these things if we don't handle the little things right. And that's locker room, making sure the locker room is clean. It's making sure our feet is behind the white. It's making sure that we're not talking back to coaches in a way. Um, how we move, if there's, people around. Are we football players? Are we being more kind? You know what I mean? It's all different things that we have to take into consideration, right? But all of it leads into a championship, right? All these little things we talk about, like throwing your trash away, throwing tape, right? Shit, it sounds so cliche and so it's so generic, but it matters, right? Putting your towels in the bin, not just letting the equipment people picking up the stuff, right? It matters, right? And I didn't realize it until, like I said, a little bit older now. You know what I mean? I wish I would have felt this freshman, sophomore year. You know what I mean? But I want to win, and I know what it takes to win, right? So if I got to pick out every towel in one of my teammates' locker rooms to make sure they understand, I'm going to do it, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that stuff adds up. It really does. Going back to those first few years here, and that's when I was working with the team. Those years of Kasim Hill being on the doorstep, and for me, I mean, it felt every year like we could have made the playoffs and just in excruciating fashion missed out. What can you speak to the impact that those guys, the guys that weren't able to win the rings, but built up this program in a big way. Um, the impact they had on you as a young player and how you carry that on to these championship teams.
Oh yeah. Coming in here, right? I had Wesley Neal, Antonio Carter, Jordan Jones,
Oh, yeah.
Ashton Rogers, and those guys right there. The standard was specifically Wesley Neal. I wanted to literally lift like him. Everything Wes would do, I would try to emulate that in any way in terms of just how he lifted, how he was moving, and how we'd approach the game. And it was very violent, exactly how I want to play the game, right? That dude, it's like 300 pounds, benches like four, 425, 6, 7 plates, and then at that weight, he runs probably 4.6.
Oh my
And
god.
yeah, it's unfortunate that he didn't get his combine for real because his appendix. Because I guarantee you guys, that dude should be just wait. I promise you guys, he gonna
I
still
I
end up where he's supposed to be, huh?
I remember Coach Sato, who was in charge of me the first 2 years. I asked him my first day of summer camp, 2021. I'm like, is there anyone here you think has a shot at the NFL? Immediately he went, Wesley Neal. He's like, keep your eye on him. So that's what I think of every time I hear that name.
Yeah, I mean, especially with him, like he don't even say much, but him being himself, right? We talk about different type of leaders as well. Like that dude led by example. Like, and he just had this like people just gravitated towards him just because of just who he was, and he doesn't even realize probably what he meant to me in a small amount of time. That well, we'll say 2 3 years. It's not really small, but it just he's gone now. So you know what I mean. I missed him. I miss all of them. Gabe, I still missed them all. But definitely those guys have definitely laid the foundations because the culture would have never been what it was if I didn't learn it from them. And then me and Keith came in, and then now we're in this position. It's just so everything happened so fast, bro. You know what I mean? Now I graduate December. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just like, damn. You know what I mean? So yeah.
It's definitely something I wish I could have been a part of. I was there just all the way 2021 to 2023, so I just missed the first championship. Kyle and I joke about that all the time because Kyle now has 2 rings, and he
Yeah.
calls me the Marcus Smart because I was there during the building years and then missed out on that. But even I'll say this, going into working for this team, my expectations weren't high because I'm like, okay, it's URI football. I hadn't watched Rhode football before I got there, and I was like, okay, it's a basketball school. They're probably not that good. I heard they haven't won in a while. Like, oh yeah, their records the last whatever years weren't good. But I come in there and they're rattling off 5 wins to start the season, and you could feel something different than what was there in summer camp, and I'm sure what was there the years before. And that different feeling grew into a culture that now has won back-to-back conference titles, and that's a ridiculous accomplishment considering the school hadn't done that in 3 decades. And it's thanks to you guys, really.
Yeah. I mean, like, to be honest, there's so many others that, you know, Coach Flum deserves this. I
Oh yeah.
mean, if you guys look at his record when he first came in here. You know what I mean? And to now, it's just like night and day. I mean, Thor, obviously we just lost Thor. You know what I mean? It upset me a little bit, but he's doing the thing best thing for him. So you can't
Yeah.
ever knock a man for that, right? Because you know he's trying to change stuff for his family. But like I said, damn, I forgot what was I saying before. Sorry, what was I saying?
Um, the amount of different people that contributed to the culture change.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah,
you were
yeah, yeah. I was
Slam
saying
or
I would also Henry Yanakopoulos too, who's a
yes,
corners
Yanni.
coach. That's who we call King Culture. You know, he's he really was the one who really made it like evident to really take that culture to the next level. And right, Yanni came in as a walk on and was an all conference, first team all conference player by the time he left. And that story, I mean, you hear all these stories about these walk ons here who come and dominate, the level. And it's just Gomes. I mean, Gomes too. I love Gomes so much. There's so many guys. I can't just put one because there's so many guys who have helped. Yeah, we say Kasim, but there's so many guys who don't say anything, but who literally just being themselves change the culture. That's all it takes sometimes.
A name you said earlier jumped to me as one of my favorite players ever to watch here, and that was Jordan Jones.
Oh my God. Whew,
Yeah.
whew.
Prime Jordan Jones, like, Dad, what was it like seeing 2022 Jordan
We
Jones?
talking about Revis. We talk about like the Revis of the CAA. Like I'm like that dude's approach to the game, that dude's mindset, his poised when at the point of attack is something that it's calming, but it's scary at the same time because when he talks, you know it's something. You know you messed up if he's talking. That's a silent assassin right there. I think he's like what he's number 1 all time in PBUs. I'm
Is
assuming,
he?
or I think so, or something like that, or however it went. That dude right there led by example, like I said. I mean, didn't say much, but anytime he like stepped foot on that field or the practice, like people knew it was time. It was shut down. Nothing was happening. So
You've rewritten some of those URI records yourself. Tackles for loss and sacks, you are now the all-time leader in both. And heading into the games where you broke those records, were you aware that you were on the doorstep, or was that something you kind of ignored, found out after the fact from people telling you?
I mean, I knew prior to going into the Albany game, I knew, and
That was sacks, right?
yeah, that was
Yeah.
sacks. Yeah, that was sacks. I think I hit TFLs week 2, correct if I'm not mistaken.
Hold on.
But with the whole sack thing, I didn't know I broke it in the 4 sack game. So I was like, I didn't even know I had 4, right? I'm sitting there like, damn, I got 4-piece nugget. Ooh, you know what I mean? I'm happy, you know what I mean? I ain't gonna lie. When you get to the quarterback 4 times, it's hard, especially me. I get
Oh
doubled
yeah.
and triple teamed a lot. So when I'm able to get there, you know what I mean? I'm like, oh, what are you guys doing? You know what I mean? Because I'm not really used to it. You know what I mean? Because now, like, I am used to it, but now it's like, I'm getting double, triple team. These teams are running away, sprint out from me. You know, they're not letting me get in my mojo, and they can't because it'll affect your whole game, right? But they don't realize I got 10 other dudes who are chasing as well. So it's like, pick your poison, you know? So, yeah. So they
I-
are,
i-
that's it. That.
Is there something you look for in a play, like pre-snap? Is there any tell that you might get a sack here? Like, is there something you see and you're like, "Ooh, I like this," and then
When, when,
I don't
the,
know.
when, I would say when the tackle is a little, he's looking at me, but he's like this. You see me, his eyes are wide, and he's a little arched back because tackles give this tell when they're pass setting, right? I know when they start looking like the fear of God is in them, I know what time it is. You know what I mean? And they start pointing protections like this, 5 for 5. They do this and they do this right here. I know it's money time. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
get like this. I get this like this foaming from the mouth feeling from this. You know what I mean? It sounds crazy, but this is the mindset I go in with it. That's every play in practice, right? Devin saying back there, I look at Devin as a piece of steak. You know what I mean? If I don't incentivize it in any way, I won't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I said, all right. It's football's fun, but I would say just that little thing of just him being scared, and I'm telling you, they do it. And you look, I'm telling you, sometimes if you're up on the field, you look at these tackles. It's 3rd down and 7. Just look at them. I'm telling you, little fear in their eyes.
If you ended up at the draft combine and you had to write the ideal scout report that you'd get back, what would it read like?
Versatile weapon, hybrid weapon. You line him up anywhere, he's going. 3 tech, 5 tech, 9 tech, 8 tech, inside backer, cross dogs. There's nothing I can't do on the field, truthfully. So
That's yeah, that is the mindset to have, knowing your strengths and knowing that your strengths are really anything, and that's why it's not too often that you see a linebacker become the face of a team. Does that mean anything to you, or do you not
nah,
really think
bro.
about that much?
Nah, bro. To be honest, I'm about legacy, bro, and affecting others.
Yeah,
I'm a big Jordan guy.
yeah,
I'm a Jordan guy, right? So I've I obviously never watched him in person, but I studied his leadership habits and his work ethic, and it's mesmerizing of the stuff that he did and everything you hear these crazy stories because right, like who doesn't want to be that guy? Who doesn't want to be the guy? You know what I mean? When 23 put on that jersey, everybody knew what time it was. Tightness, there wasn't a loose jersey. There wasn't nothing wrong. People knew it was literally what they call it, aura. Aura.
yeah.
That's what they call it. It's walking aura. You know what I mean? So, like I said, um, uh, it's important, it's important, but like I said, it comes with it. Like I said, I work so hard and yeah, they all just came to me. You know, that's all.
Jordan's a player you look up to. Is there any NFL player you model your game, like your on-field game after? And then is there an NFL player you look up to mentality-wise?
Mentality wise, I would say Ray Lewis. Um, Ray Lewis and Aaron Donald.
Yeah,
Um, those guys come from unique backgrounds themselves, but their mentalities to strike human beings is something I just admire. And they will work till literally their limbs are off their body for it. And obviously they're retired now, but when they were on the field, right, we knew what they were about. Aaron Donald, right? I mean, 3 straight seasons of 20 sacks as a D tackle knows. I don't know if people understand how great that is, but that is great. So, if I had to emulate my game after, can I do like a combination of two or
Yeah,
like just one? I would say, right, I'm me, obviously, right? But I would say Hassan Reddick, right? And a little bit of Von Miller.
gotcha.
But I got power though, right? So I would have to say a little bit of Micah in there. So, but I really like watching Hassan and Vaughn because of how they bend. Because I love the ghost rush move. It's like a stab and then dip under the tackle type of move. Um, and the way they flip their hips and how they're fluid is just very similar to how we play. Right. So, yeah.
I'm not surprised you said Aaron Donald. I was picturing when you were talking about salivating and seeing the fear in the center's eyes. I was picturing that Nike ad when Aaron Donald retired that said "Quarterbacks rejoice." Definitely like that of
Yeah,
you.
bro. Yeah.
But yeah, no, that the fact that you have that many players you're analyzing, I think is only a tool to you. You
Yeah.
know, using those NFL guys as a tool to improve your own game. I've got to ask too: is there any meaning behind the number 8?
Um, no. To be honest, I've only rocked a couple numbers in my life, and they always had to do with 5 and 8. So that's why I've kept it a little in there. It's either been 58
Right.
or 8. 58 come from Vaughn, actually. That's why I
Yeah.
started, like I said, from Denver when he was there. So that's why I wanted to really be like Vaughn and Khalil Mack, prime Khalil Mack when he was with the Bears. That's who
Bears.
I really wanted. That was my two right there. Like I could not get off them. I would watch them over and over and over and over and over again. Those guys get after it differently. So if I had to say somebody now who I like, Nick Benito from Denver. He's really good. And Jared Verse. Jared Verse is very good on the Rams too. Very good. CAA guy as well. So
Yeah. Yeah, you know your stuff, man.
yeah.
And I'm blanking. I had something good. Give me a second.
You
It'll
good,
come.
bro.
It'll come back to me. It'll come back to me. But I'll
Yeah.
pivot.
You good, bro.
Um, yeah. So heading into this playoff matchup, what are some differences you see in Central Connecticut State? Oh, and actually, pinning that, I remember my first question. They kind of tie in together. I was going to ask about how much film a week do you watch?
Ooh. You want to go by a week, day? Let's go. Ooh. Let me get this time. I'm gonna get my time lapse on this. You said per day or just throughout the week?
Throughout the week.
Throughout the week, I would say I would try to get at least 6 to 10, 6 to 10 a week of film.
Wow.
And it's because the game requires you to obsess over the little details, right? And you have to literally to engrave pictures of your head of these plays, you have to play them like 20, 30 times, even more, even to really understand the whole play and what they can do off it, right? Because right, a team may do a play, but they may do it again a little bit differently, right? And then the little difference would just be the way a back is aligned or if a tight end is off the ball or on the ball, right?
Yeah.
And I know teams are going to come with their best shot now. We're in playoffs now, right? So even if it's a game from week 2 of who they played, I'm watching that game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's a stacking effect, right? There's like nothing like you can never learn too much of football. I don't think I've ever heard that in my life, right? And
Yeah.
you can engrave these pictures and get them in your head as fast as possibly can. You're putting yourself in a better position to make the play. So
Yeah, I mean the film's important, and if Kyle were still on, his phone died and then he got called on to work. By the way, he wishes he could come on, but Kyle's whole job is sorting through that film, and he was telling me they'll ask him like, "Hey, can you find all the times like I don't know Monmouth ran 4-3 on third down from 2012 to 2018, like something like that." He has to search for it and you guys really do your diligence, and I think that is a large reason why you got to where you are today. So, what are you looking for specifically from Central Connecticut State that may be different from last year?
I expected them to come off the ball a lot harder than what they did, right? I mean, right? I hope they will, right? I mean, you're playing the Rhode Island Rams, so you better be ready to bring the best, right?
Yeah,
I expect them to do things to put us in space, to try to put their athletes in best positions, and they're gonna go quick game. They're gonna try to do things to chip me, to get me off my rush. I anticipate that obviously every game, right? But they're gonna do a lot of unique flavors of a lot of different things, right? But like I said, we've been prepping for it and we're ready. So
yeah, no, that's looks like you're doing your homework. That's what you should be doing now. Um, if you're them, what do you think they're looking for out of you?
I feel like they're for me, like I feel like they're gonna look to get into my head. Um, like, are you saying specifically like what are they gonna be looking like to go against me? You're saying?
Yes.
So I'm gonna. This is honestly, seriously, like there's two things: screens, three times.
Yeah.
They're gonna try to overload to my side by sending two or three pullers for like power game, just to, you know what I mean, force a corner or a linebacker into a fit, something like that. And then what else would I say? Get into my head, right? Like this is what these teams do, right? They try to chirp and try to get me off my game, and right, like I got to make sure that that doesn't happen because I know how I get. I get very reactive to certain things, and this is the reality. Like I'm not saying anything that's like it's just prepping for the long run, right? So that's something I feel like they would do just based on what they see on tape. You know what I mean? Because they probably gonna see some bigger, and they gonna see a lot of bodies thrown from me just being me. You know,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's what I would say for real.
How does playing in the playoffs stack up and compare to those games you've had at bigger stadiums like Pittsburgh, for example, Minnesota, even Centerville Bank this year?
You're saying comparing it to those stadiums?
Yeah,
Um, I mean, like the atmosphere will always be mean. It'll always be great, to be honest. I mean, from Centerville, like it really wasn't as much as what I thought. I mean, the atmosphere there was amazing. I mean, we were right next to the water. The only
that's
thing I
fair.
didn't like was there was five big TVs of Brown. Like I'm like, damn. Like you know what I'm saying? Like I know we're not at Browns or we're not at Brown Stadium or Rhode Island Stadium, but knowing the Centerville guy, he's from Brown, right? Am I not mistaken?
I think so.
I think he's from Brown, so that's why it
I
made
think
sense on why. But I would say right, I'm right next to it right now. Actually, you know
I
that
see it
that
actually behind you. Yeah,
yeah. Like the stadium is top notch. The people, you know what I mean? Like the support, the love, you can hear it. You know what I'm saying? I'm hearing fans literally tell me from the side, "Relax, AJ, you good? Relax. Don't get your." You know what I mean? That means a lot. You know what I mean? And I'm not listening to that, but I hear it. I'm not a. You know what I mean? I hear it. Like I love Mead, and it's a phenomenal place to play in. I know they're gonna knock everything down soon. You know what I mean, and build a whole new thing, and everybody's gonna get excited for that. But it's a phenomenal place to play. Whatever anybody else got to say. So,
do you wish you could play there under the renovations? Like when
man,
it's
I said this. I better get my lifetime suite with my margaritas. You know what I'm saying, brother? You and me go up there.
yeah, yeah. It'll
Yeah,
be a little bit warmer than the construction lift.
yeah, it will.
I think you'll have a retired number up there.
Oh, I don't know. That's all. I'll leave that to you know
Yeah,
the others. I don't gossip on that, bro.
yeah, yeah. Well, listen, we've got another show going on, and I'm gonna let them take the whole studio, but I'm thrilled to watch you play on
You
Saturday.
sure you
I'll
don't got
finally.
another question? You sure you don't got another question, bro? You
Hmm.
know you got another one or two. Don't think you're not. You know what I'm saying? I like doing this. So you got another
Yeah,
one? Just hit me.
I'll try to cook one last one.
Some sports. Try to give me
Yeah,
something
yeah.
good.
We got like 10 minutes actually. I was gonna end
Yeah,
it
10
early.
minutes. 10 minutes. Come on.
Yeah,
I'm saying hour. I'm looking at 49 minutes up here. I'm like, we're not done. You said an hour.
I think there were some noise issues going on within there.
I
But
see. I see. Okay, I
yeah,
got you.
if we got quieter, we could get it in.
I got you.
Um,
Be like this.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, what? Well, I'll start simple. What are the pro teams that you grew up watching and are a fan of? If I remember correct, you're a Yankees guy.
Yeah, Yankees, Carolina Panthers, New Jersey Devils, um, d- diehard Yankees, diehard Panthers. Not just Cam Newton, Jake Delhomme, Julius Peppers, Museem Muhammad, Charles Godfrey. I can name them all. You know,
Yeah,
obviously my Yankees. I love them. Even though I'm by the area, unfortunately, I go to beef with Boston guys all the time. We could debate. I love it because I love sports. I'm a fanatic over it. Obviously, you probably seen my Triple H thing. If you haven't seen me spinning
I know
water in
what
the
you're.
air and fanatics, it's like me doing it was a whole
Oh,
thing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They posted that, so yeah. I'm just talking, but yeah, the Panthers. Who else did I like? Well, I know you're not. I'm not gonna lie, right? What's weird about my family is that my dad is a Giants fan,
yeah.
mom Eagles fan, my aunt's a Cowboys fan,
Oh wow.
and my uncle's a Commanders fan. So just imagine living with those, you know, trying to, oh, you got to be my team. Nah, I'm a Panthers fan. You guys are
Yeah,
not getting me with any of this. You know what I mean? So,
you stuck with them
yeah.
too.
What happened?
You stuck with them too in some bad years.
Oh, I stuck with him. I keep pounding. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? That's our motto, baby. That's our motto. That's what we say. So
yeah, yeah. No, I mean, do you have a take on Bryce Young? Do you think he's going to pan out?
you know, it's so weird with him, right? Because I'm on the emotions with him are just not with him, but I'm just saying with him as a team, right? It's so good, right? But then it gets bad, and it goes good, bad. But it's like, I know if you put Bryce Young on the Eagles, I know he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. You put
You
Jalen
know,
Hurts. Let's look at this, and you answer
yeah,
this. You put Jalen Hurts on the Panthers. Is Jalen Hurts the same?
I don't think so.
Thank you. That's all I want. That's all I wanted to. You know what I mean? And because people talk about Cam, Jalen Hurts.
Then
If you don't,
again, then again, I'll take it one step further. Um, do you think though that Bryce Young, and this might sound absurd, Bryce Young, coached by Nick Sirianni, comes out the same? Because I'm a big skeptic of Sirianni, and so I could see him shooting Bryce's development in the foot. Not that the Panthers have had the best coaching around
okay.
Bryce,
What I mean by that, right? Okay, I see what you mean, right?
but you're
Would you
saying the
consider would you consider Jalen Hurts a system quarterback?
ooh,
This is the thing, because I was thinking Eagles or Niners, right? If I take
yeah.
Bryce on those teams, if I put is Bryce going to be better than those quarterbacks?
I think Niners absolutely. The Eagles is tough because I think Sirianni is shooting that. Or okay, more so the new offensive coordinator there. I think is shooting that talent in the foot. Like I think there's more offensive talent there than what is shown statistically, and it's crazy to say that about the defending Super Bowl champs. But
Yeah,
like they could be so much more than what they are, and I think that's the fault of some of the coaching.
yeah.
Um,
Yo, I play Madden, right? And
yeah.
there's overalls. They have a team that's loaded.
Oh
And
yeah.
they have a team on paper that is just absolutely absurd. But
And then they're scoring like less than 20 points. Like, you know what I mean?
Saquon, I mean, you got to realize who they lost. They lost big pieces to their front. Makai
Yeah.
Becton. They lost Darius Slay, Milton Williams, who was very good, who's on the
It's our guy
Patriots.
now.
And you know
My
he's a
guy now.
dog. You guys know
He's
he's a
injured,
dog.
unfortunately. But yeah,
I
I miss
mean,
him right
like,
now.
and like, it's like you can't just win after losing pieces like that. You have to try to rebuild, right? And I feel like the GM is a little weird too because I feel like he just goes for He just goes for like the top players all the time. That doesn't mean they're just going to be good though,
Yeah.
right? You got to get fits, right? Zach Bond, right? Like that is incredible how they got him. Like seriously, like Saints. He was freaking on the uh the the practice squad or something like that, and then all of a sudden he's the first team All Pro. It's not all of a sudden, but it's like you know what I mean. Like that just doesn't happen, right?
Yeah.
Like development and will from the player. They got a lot. They got lucky that year. I will say there's a lot. The Giants messed up by giving him Saquon because how could you do that? How? How could you do that?
Do you
Even
know what?
Jerry Jones made a trade to the Packers. Like, if you wanted to trade him, you can't trade him back here. You can't trade him back here, or you're gonna give up a first round pick. That's in the actual trade. Like that's crazy.
You know what the crazy thing is with Saquon and the Giants? The take I hear from Giants fans when you bring that up about how they traded Saquon, I hear a lot of they should have never drafted him in the first place, which is a whole nother thing. But it's no question why they won the Super Bowl
I
last year. I mean,
mean,
you should have
they
win
should
one.
have took what they should have took, and whoever they should have took Quentin Nelson.
Yeah.
Everybody was talking about that. O line, O line, O line.
And then they pick a running back, and
How
you
you
saw
you're gonna
how
get your franchise back with no O line, and you guys got him injured. You guys
yeah.
literally like it
I was
doesn't make
afraid of that. I was afraid of that with Drake May. I was terrified. I was and I ended up wrong, and I'm glad I'm wrong. But there was the whole debate over whether to bring in Drake May instead of Jacoby Brissett. I was saying I don't want to see Drake May this year. I was like, don't nowhere near him. Because I didn't want to risk him getting killed back there, but
But
it
but
turned out
also, bro, like if you're a first round pick, bro, you gotta. There's a certain thing you gotta play at, bro. There's an expectation there where, like, right, Shamar Stewart, right? You see him with the Bengals. He's been having all his weird issues with them, right? Like he made this whole thing about making this big deal about getting paid and all this. Yeah, then you get paid, then what? Like, you know what I'm saying? You have to do stuff with it. You know what I mean? Produce, right? But like I said, everybody's development is different, right?
yeah.
So he may be better next year, right? Like I said, if you make a whole big fuss and then you miss all of training camp for a contract when you're a rookie, right? And I know you was getting NIL crazy. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what do you really love? You know what I mean? Where's your passions? Where's all that at? You know what I mean? That's
You know
something I
what the
look at.
impact that had on the team. No
Exactly.
one they had injuries and everything, yes, but that when you have guys not buying in like that, your first round pick sets the tone. You know,
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
and
So
that's part of what's changed with the Patriots. They've
yeah.
had a tone shift with Vrabel and May, and the culture's just different. And I'm excited. I'm going to the game on Monday night, so I'm
Yo,
hyped for
and
that.
Drake May is a stud.
Yeah,
He's your one. You guys better not mess it up. You guys better please don't mess it up. I
I don't
like
think
I
we
like
will.
I actually I make like a franchise for Madden and stuff like
Yeah,
that. And I drafted him. And I'm in the first season with him and he is absolutely amazing.
I,
So
so heading into the draft, I didn't want him. It was a casual take, but it was a take that was I heard around elsewhere. I wanted Jaden Daniels. And once we settled into that three spot, you realize it wasn't going to happen. But I was like, I don't know if I want to bank everything off a North Carolina quarterback.
yeah.
It was casual. It was a casual take, and I ended up wrong. But the first day after he was drafted, I was with WPRI at the time, and I got to be there. And I asked Drake a question at the press conference, and I was there when they gave him the jersey and everything, and he won me over. The way he carried himself, the way he was answering the questions with humility and just in energy, and he was being himself. He was just being natural. And it was something we hadn't seen in Foxborough in a bit. And he
Yeah,
was having
and it was
fun.
it probably was refreshing, like
Yeah.
therapeutic for you almost, right? As a
Yes.
fan and as somebody who reports on all this,
And it
So
took me one day. It took me one day to go from I'd rather try to get extra picks and trade down or get a lineman if we can't get Jaden Daniels. One day later, I hear him talking. I'm like, no, he's our guy. I was wrong.
and
That's the
that's
type
fair.
of
You
guy
know
he is.
what? I respect that. You know
Yeah,
why? Because people can't do that, and particularly, I'm sorry to say it, Boston fans.
yeah. You
So
own being wrong.
you know what I mean. So listen, I
Hey,
know I can admit it, and I know New York people say New Jersey we can't admit, but I'll tell you right now, I can admit if I am wrong in a take
yeah.
with something, and regardless if there's facts or something to back it up, right? I'm gonna take that take, right? But I'm
See, I
just
was a hardcore Mac Jones believer for a while. I had to swallow that. Once I realized that wasn't going to pan out, I was like big on that even from
dude,
before
like
the draft.
just think about the amount of people you guys could have took over him if you guys didn't.
Or Nikhil Harry or Cole Strange, like every draft, they just didn't
That was
draft well.
kind of like us though, because we took right. We went like Vernon Butler 1 year. We
Yeah,
right Shaq Thompson, right? Obviously that was good, right? Kelvin
we could have
Benjamin.
had McConkey. Lad McConkey was like right after. I think it was the Cole Strange year.
I love yeah.
Yeah, he's a stud. I gotta ask too. You mentioned the New York, New Jersey thing. Like off topic, where in Jersey are you from? Because I'm getting familiar with the area now. My girlfriend lives out there,
Uh
so I'm in Bergen County quite a bit now.
Montclair.
Okay, so where is that in relation to? Because she's in like Wyckoff, that area, Ramsey, up by the mountains, up by the border.
So she by like Bear Mountain, kind of.
Yes,
Yeah, she's up there. She's by like Mawa up there,
yes,
like Caldwell.
yep,
Yeah,
Noah.
I'm very familiar with that area, bro. I've
Yeah,
had a couple little, up there. So, uh, had a couple little run-ins up there. But
yeah.
yeah. From you, that shouldn't be far. That's like we're like 2025. But yeah, like
Oh, okay.
something like that. Yeah, nothing too crazy at all.
You proud of your Jersey roots? Because I hear Jersey gets a lot of slander. Now that I've been going, I'm like, it doesn't. It's not as bad as people say at all. It's
Listen,
cool. You got Wawa.
only people that got something to say about Jersey, my brother, are people who don't live there. We love our state. We just very passionate about our state. And it's also the mentality of New Jerseyans. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You know what I mean? But also there's reasons why. We're just not deluded. There's reasons why we love our state. And it's okay.
Oh yeah.
Like everybody loves their state, but people may call us delusional. It's okay.
The
Right? But
malls. The malls are top tier.
and then right, I know the water shart, obviously, right?
Yeah.
But at least we got beaches and a boardwalk. At
I'm
least you
telling
know what
like
I mean?
the malls you guys have down there, as opposed to up here, are peak. Like
Night and
I
day.
yeah, I went to Palisades, which isn't in New Jersey, but it's like right there, and then Garden State Center, and then there's one in Paramus. Like all there, so many. I have to hit up American Dream. I've been to a Devils game. That was a lot of fun. Saw them beat the Avalanche in overtime. I'm getting used to the area, and I'm really liking it.
Yeah, bro. If I had to recommend some spots, bro, go to
Oh yeah,
Hoboken. Go to Hoboken and get some pizza.
Hoboken. Yeah,
It's right near New York. If you have
yeah.
time, Hoboken is good. It's a little expensive, you know what I mean. But it's a good bite to eat, bro, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Well, listen, we're over an hour. I'm glad you kept me on because once they shut the door, it was it was fine.
Yeah,
Uh, you're one of my favorites to talk to. Really, I mean, you study yourself as much as you study the game, and both of those are at an extremely high level. I
hmm
like how self-reflective you are and emotionally intelligent. And I think that's something that people need to hear, even in their own lives. I hope you at home, if you if you're not an athlete, you can gain a lot from just how to look at your own life and how to manage your emotions and become yourself in a more fulfilling way. So this was one of our better interviews ever. And I've had MLB umpires, Savannah Bananas. I've had all sorts of people on. And this was one of our most like meaningful and in-depth conversations we've had on here. So AJ, I appreciate you, brother.
Brother, I appreciate you, bro. You know, I wouldn't have done this if I didn't like you, brother. You know that. I
Yeah,
love you, bro.
I appreciate that.
I love you, bro. You know what I'm saying? Your passion. For me seeing your passion in that setting, the classroom, I'm like, bro, this
Yeah.
dude, something he gonna be special, bro. You know what I mean? And when you asked me, bro, it was a no-brainer. I know I took a little while, but I
No,
knew I
of
was gonna
course.
get to you, bro. You know? So
I appreciate that. I appreciate it. You're a stud. You guys are going to keep winning games, I'm sure. I'll be there finally on Saturday, my first one since last year.
wow, for real?
Yeah, dude. When do you think I go to Jersey to see my girlfriend? Yeah, but I'm finally making it out. I was going to try to go this last weekend. It didn't work out, but I'm excited. My first one, not as a student. I'll try to see if I can like at least wave or something. You're going to be busy, but you lock in. You got this, and keep doing great things, man.
I got you, brother. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Good luck. And thanks to all for watching. We got some great guests. We still have Thorbjorn on the horizon once he settled into UMass. I'm talking to a bunch of other people, including Ania Khan Okan, the Channel 12 sports reporter. Stay tuned on my social medias for all that. But we want to thank AJ Pena and Kyle Reel for this one. This is Fiore calling game.